The Scotland Act, the legislation that shaped Scottish politics. Presentation overview. Origins of Scotland Act and Referendum of 1997. The Scotland Act of 1998 was a result of the referendum of 1997, which paved the way for devolution in Scotland and granted the Scottish Parliament limited powers. Devolved areas of power. The Scottish Parliament has devolved powers in areas such as health, education, and local government. The Scottish Government is responsible for implementing policies and legislation in these areas. Impact and controversies of Scotland Act. Scotland Act has had a significant impact on Scotland's political landscape, but it has also been the subject of controversies such as the Barnett Formula, which determines public spending in Scotland. Background and history of the Scotland Act. Origins of the Scotland Act. The Scotland Act was a result of a long-standing campaign for devolution in Scotland, which gained momentum in the 1970s and 1980s. The Act was passed in 1998 and gave Scottish Parliament and government greater decision-making powers. Referendum of 1997. The referendum of 1997 was a historic event that led to the creation of the Scotland Act. The referendum asked Scottish people whether they wanted a Scottish Parliament with the power to make laws in Scotland. Origins of the Scotland Act. Devolution of powers. The devolution of powers to Scotland gained widespread support in the late 20th century, leading to the creation of the Scotland Act. It allowed Scotland to have partial control over its domestic affairs. Political factors. Political factors that led to the creation of the Scotland Act include the rise of Scottish nationalism, the desire for greater autonomy, and the need to address regional disparities. Social factors. The social factors that led to the creation of the Scotland Act include Scottish identity, a sense of cultural distinctiveness, and desire for greater representation in decision-making processes. The Referendum of 1997. The referendum of 1997 was a watershed moment in Scottish politics that saw the creation of the Scottish Parliament and significant devolution of powers from the UK government to Scotland. Results of the referendum. The referendum saw a clear majority of Scots in favour of the creation of a Scottish Parliament, with 74.3% voting in favour and 25.7% against. Devolution of powers to Scotland. Devolved powers. The Scotland Act devolved a range of powers from the UK government to the Scottish Parliament and government, including areas such as education, health, and justice. Role of Scottish Parliament. Scottish Parliament has the power to make laws on devolved matters and to hold the Scottish Government to account. It is composed of elected members of the Scottish Parliament. Role of Scottish Government. Scottish Government is responsible for implementing policies and making administrative decisions related to devolved matters. It is headed by a First Minister and Cabinet. Devolved areas of power. Health. Health is one of the devolved areas of power in Scotland, and the Scottish Government has the authority to develop policies and regulations related to healthcare and health services in the country. Education. Education is another devolved area of power in Scotland. The Scottish Government has the authority to develop policies and regulations related to education, including the curriculum, teacher training, and funding for schools and universities. Environment. Environment is also a devolved area of power in Scotland, and the Scottish Government has the authority to develop policies and regulations related to the environment, including pollution control, waste management, and conservation. Scottish Parliament and Government. Structure of Scottish Parliament. The Scottish Parliament consists of a single chamber with 129 members of the Scottish Parliament, MSPs, elected for a term of 5 years through a system of proportional representation. Composition of Scottish Government. The Scottish Government is comprised of the First Minister, Deputy First Minister, and Cabinet Secretaries, who are appointed by the First Minister. It is accountable to the Scottish Parliament. Impact and controversies of the Scotland Act. Impact on Scottish economy. The Scotland Act has had a significant impact on Scotland's economy by giving the Scottish Government more control over taxation and spending. This has led to economic growth and increased investment in the country. Controversies surrounding the Scotland Act. Scotland Act has been the subject of controversy and criticism, with some arguing that it does not go far enough in devolving powers to Scotland, while others argue that it goes too far and threatens the unity of the United Kingdom. Impact on Scotland's economy. Devolution of powers. The Scotland Act has allowed for greater devolution of powers to the Scottish Parliament, enabling Scotland to have greater control over areas such as taxation and economic development. Positive impact on the economy. Scotland Act has had a significant positive impact on Scotland's economy, allowing for greater investment in infrastructure, job creation, and economic growth. Challenges. Although the Scotland Act has brought many benefits, it has also created challenges such as increased competition with other regions and the potential loss of funding from the UK government. Conclusion. Significance of the Scotland Act. The Scotland Act is a significant piece of legislation that has had a lasting impact on Scottish politics and society. It has paved the way for devolution and greater control over Scotland's affairs. Controversy and criticism. While the Scotland Act has been the subject of controversy and criticism, it has brought about significant changes to Scottish politics and society. Legacy of the Scotland Act. The legacy of the Scotland Act will continue to shape the political landscape of Scotland for years to come and will pave the way for future progress and change. Thank you.